Mr. Thiemann, are you off mute? I don't see you yet.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir. I can even see you now. Man, look at
All
that little
right.
star behind him. Oh, that star in the background right there. I wish I could zoom in on that. Go Team Thiemann. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that has mom's name on it. They didn't put me on it, so that's all right. We're all one team here. So yeah, I want to talk about and this is actually not my idea. So just wanted to give out a shout out to Michael Sandage and his team, and they really came up with this idea, or he did anyways, about replacing some of the G1s and G2s with SSD, essentially solid state drives. And what that's doing, and solid state drive, it's about this big. It's pretty small, and they're relatively inexpensive right now. So I replaced all my G1s and G2s. We're in the process right now of replacing them all with 240 gig solid state drives, and that's from the HDD. And the reason you do that is, bottom line, the HDD after a while, it's going to start slowing down. And if you notice some of those G1s and G2s, um, they're just a lot slower than they were in prior years. And so if we can go back and essentially replace these solid states in there, it almost acts like a brand new computer. I mean, it's way faster. I had taxpayers complaining, man, this computer takes so long to boot up, or it's so long to do stuff. And we put this in, and it worked really well. The 240 gig, I think, was around $35 each. Depends on the brand you get. Um, you can go with the 120 gig. I just opted for the 240 just to be safe. But I think most computers would be okay with the 120, but that's really just your personal decision. It was only about a $5 or $10 difference. So I just went ahead with the 240. And the reason we do that is because, we're looking at, possibly extending the life of these computers. And if we're going to do that, we really want to make sure they're in obviously good shape. And, to add, $35 is really nothing compared to with the new computers. I think are what, 500, 600, or once you add tax and everything. So it was really a huge savings for us. Obviously, we've done I think 24 of them, and so haven't had really any issues up to this point. And so I don't know if I can share my screen real quick, if that's possible or not. All right. So what what I'm going to show you real quick, because you might be like, okay, how do I do this? Well, from a hardware perspective, it's super easy. So obviously you get your solid state drive. It needs to be a 2.5 SATA. All right. Um, and just look that up if you don't know what that means. But essentially, it's making sure you know the right components in the back of the computer connecting um, to your hard drive. And so what you'll do is you would unplug the HDD and just plug it straight into the solid state. From there, you're just literally going to boot up the computer. And so it's actually going to go to Pi. So we're all very familiar with Pi. And so when we do that, and this is how I did it. Toast maybe did some updating, I know recently, but I did this about 2 or so weeks ago. So Tony, correct me if I'm wrong, or Patrick or whoever. I know Doug Salway helped me with this as well. But what we had to do was, when we put in that hard drive, one of the issues is the server was not seeing, or Toast was not seeing the hardware. Because it wasn't obviously a workstation at that point. We pulled the whole old hard drive, put in the new one, and so what was going on is it was going into these unknown devices, right? And so these all unknown devices. So we use VoIP, so that's probably all of our phones that we're using at this point. But essentially, what was happening is when we unplugged it or plug in that solid state drive, it went into this unknown category. And so when you're at your workstation or whatever computer you're re-imaging and you boot it up after you put the solid state in, it'll go to Pi, and at the top, if you have internet plugged into it, it'll show IP address. And then IP address, you just confirm the server can see it, and that's when it'd be in one of these selections. And the reason why that's important is because then I want to see what my essentially what my server IP address is. And from here, what we're going to do is map it. So we have to, oops, sorry. I don't know what that was. probably whatever. So from here, we would map the drive. So how I got here, by the way, so if you don't know how to map a drive, your workstation to your server, you're going to want to go to the Office Setup Guide, and it's going to be the Pi User Guide. Okay, so when you map the drive, this is what you're going to see in Pi, and so you're going to hit, open that up, map drive, location. And it kind of does these steps, but essentially you're going to do your server. / images. So your server IP address, sorry. And then your username and password is your server. It's username server, and then your password is whatever your password is. So mine is my office number, TX, zip code, dash, I think flock. And so then you're going to go through all that. And once you go through kind of that process, it's going to ask you to select an image, and doesn't show right here, but on the actual workstation, it'll say, okay, do you want to back it up? Do you want to make an image of the server? Or you want to make an image of the workstation? And you would select workstation. And when you go through that process, of course, you want to do 2 partitions. And so when you do that, then it maps it, and then you just start imaging from there. And then it will automatically start imaging in the background. Now it's going to take probably about 5 or 6 hours, I guess depending on internet speed or different things like that. But once you do that and do that process, then you just go back to Office Setup. You run your Office Setup Guide as we normally would. And then what you do is then you tell that computer which role, you want it to be. So is that going to be, and what it would do is it would pop down right here under other computers, right? And so then you just go and select, okay, is that administration? Is that workstation, check-in, whatever it is. And so we've already done one, and I think all these G1s we've already done. So G1s might be an old server, G1, G2s might be our current backup. Really, pretty straightforward process, and it's been pretty simple. And I've done multiple in an office in one day without even a problem. So something I might recommend, only because your computer's gonna be much faster, especially if you're planning on keeping these G1s and G2s. It's a pretty inexpensive upgrade to do, while significantly improving the cost or the performance of our office computers. So your tax pros will really really appreciate it. So hopefully that was kind of helpful, but I would definitely go by the Pi User Guide if you don't know how to map the drive. That was the biggest issue I kind of ran into. The other one I want to say real quick was Kodak. So we have a lot of scanners, or we scan everything that comes into the office, and we started getting those black streaks every time we scan something. If you call it H&R Block, tech, I believe it's not covered under our hot spare. And so what we did is I was like, well, let's just give it a shot. We called Kodak directly, said, hey, we're getting this black streak. And it just, it was pretty much messing up every scan. It was pretty much useless. And so when we started getting that black streak, if any of y'all have ever gotten that, we just called them and they shipped us a new one. And we just shipped that one back. So that was actually great. Didn't cost us anything. So I was really surprised. So I don't know if you guys have ever had any success with that or not, but it might be worth a shot. And they just sent us a brand new one. So instead of ordering, now we did order a couple of the new ones, but this is for the 1150i, I believe. So just something there. So I don't know if anybody had any questions as far as that, but I think Patrick, you've done quite a few of the hard drive replacements. I know Tony has, Doug, and I don't think we've really had any major issues across the board. The only thing I've seen is that sometimes the display driver will mess up, and that's just a Windows 10 issue, and you'll have to go back and either you can re-image the computer or I think just install the display driver again. But that's what I got.
Proceed at your own risk. We've had a huge amount of success before we decided to bring this out to a larger community. But if it goes bad, put your other hard drive in. I don't know what Block will think. I don't think these are hot spareable anymore. I think they're usable but not hot spareable, so I don't think that would be an issue. But it does give that additional life. I know, Tony, you just did 6 of them yesterday, I think. So I don't know if you've got any other thoughts or suggestions
Yeah,
on that, but it's been a big deal, and those computers are way faster. I mean, it's makes a huge difference. Cameras, so there's a lot of chat, and this can be you, Robert, or Tony, or TJ. There's a lot of chat. I mean, I've seen in the FCA chat talking about, are they gonna put more monitors in Coupa? Can we go online and order more of those monitors and stuff? And, obviously there's an issue and concern about, if virtual becomes bigger and more people start doing virtual, having enough cameras. Robert or TJ or Tony, what are you guys doing? Are you guys going to Coupa and ordering a bunch more of these beautiful HD monitors, or?
There is no more. There is no more. They're out of stock.
Yeah, and you don't need them. I mean, we have plug and play,
Yep,
from
it's
Amazon cameras
cheaper.
that are significantly cheaper. You can use whatever screen you want. Works in the Work Center platform for videos, works in Teams, works in Zoom. So there's a lot of good, easy, cheap, very plug and play cameras out there that are easily accessible.
I did go ahead and replace all of my the other 9 monitors in my office with those. They were available. I ordered them at $170 a piece. Since I didn't have to buy any computers or servers this year, I just said, let's do that so people don't have to get up and go to their special workstation. And I didn't want to deal with individual video cameras, things like that. But I'm just not cheap. See, I just do it the Rolls-Royce way.
And the Rolls Royces are nice. And if you break down anywhere in the world, they'll come take care of it and fix it for you. There's your hot spare. But for those of me like you that are extremely cheap, Amazon special, Amazon Day, $24.99, $29.99. Put some cameras on there. It works out well. The hard drives, obviously the G6s are nice computers, but I would put a G6 against my G2 or G1 with the new solid state, and I'd say they're almost the same computer. There's not much difference. So, and this is just franchisees that found ways to do these things. So get you some plug and play cameras. They work, they're fine. If you don't want to do it, by all means, but just trying to find solutions instead of people going out and having to do Rolls Royce unless they want to. Nothing wrong with it. But definitely there.
Patrick, I understand a lot of mine still had 19-inch screens, so they like the bigger screen anyway.
Makes a big difference. Definitely get that for sure. Hey, so for those of you there, I mean, I guess this is my question. I honestly don't know the answer to some questions I ask just because I want to hear you guys talk, and I love listening to you. BTR, part of BTR is I've got to reimage my POSs. Is that all I got to do? Is reimage POS? Can I do that through Bomgar? Is it complicated, or is it just a matter of really just honestly just reimaging POS? What's that requirement? I know that we're BTR, but how am I BTR if I haven't redone my POS? What's going to happen with that?
What's going to happen is if you have not reimaged your POS by Monday night, on November 1st, they will push out the patch to the POS machines that they have not pushed out yet, that all of the rest of our machines got back in September. If you don't reimage at that time, your POS will still work. You may have an issue where it will lose your printer if you're using the old Epsons, so you may have to reinstall that printer. But realistically, if you don't reimage, that's going to be the only thing you might have to do is reinstall that device. If you have the time, I would go ahead and reimage it. You can do it through Bomguard. You don't need to be in the office. It's a very quick process on the POS. That way you just know it's clean and fresh. But really, that is the only machine you have to reimage this year, unless you have another machine with an issue.
Awesome. Yeah, so if I don't do my POSs, I'm not going to lose BTR. May have printer problems. When in doubt, reimage it. But Bomgar works.
Yep.
Tony, couldn't you just reimage it if you find out you do have a problem? You just go in and reimage it, and the update should download then.
Yeah, you could.
So rather than guessing which ones have got the update or not, wait to see which ones have a problem.
Yeah,
on
and
Tuesday,
I wait,
and then just reimage those.
You can, but I waited. I have 8 offices. I waited last weekend. I remoted in on Saturday, did all of them at the same time in Bomguard. Took like 3 hours, and I did them on Saturday. By the time they came in on Monday, they were all working. I still had to go in and change the administration functions on the POSs just so it knew what printer to print reports to and that kind of crap. But you can do it remotely, or you can wait to see if you have an issue.
Tony,
Yeah.
hi, it's Gino. You just do that through Toast, right? Just
Yes, you can do it through Toast. So you log into the you
I only
BombGuard.
I have one office. I got to re-image my POS. I can go do it right now.
Yeah, you can go to. I'd wait till cash out your drawer first. Make sure
Yeah,
you
of
don't
course.
have anything left. But yeah, you can
Yeah.
start it. You can start it before you left tonight. Start it through Toast. You can just reimage that one machine, and then tomorrow when you come in, it should be ready for you to log in. It will have had enough time to soak, so it should let you into everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, I put a text in yesterday, and I haven't heard back. So that's the only thing that has to be reimaged really right now
That is correct.
for this year.
Yep.
So Patrick,
Great news. Thank you.
this is Carrie. I just did my POS yesterday, day before yesterday, and the reimage failed. And so when I went to try to reimage again, it came up with a BitLocker lock on it. So I couldn't do anything until I got the code to unlock the BitLocker. If that happens, the tech guy told me hit F11 and then F9 and then put in fix BitLocker. I'll put it in the chat, but you fix the BitLocker when you get to back to Pi, and then it works fine. But it took me
Awesome.
almost
Yeah.
3 hours to do my POS system.
See, Tony made it sound easy. Now you're scaring me. So,
Well, and Carrie, yeah, put that in because I haven't heard of that issue, but definitely put it in the chat. So if anybody has an issue, they can help with that.
I did mine today,
Yeah, that's
Patrick, and everything went fine. So
don't be afraid. All right, Carrie, share that cheat because
Worst
I
case,
tell you what,
Patrick,
somebody-
you just screw up your POS and you don't pay royalties on anything you do.
yeah, be like Josh. Yeah, no problem. All right, guys, so good stuff. We talked about server replacement already. The big thing is making sure you guys are aware that that's coming. It's going to be replaced. We changed into a new blockers platform next year. FTC has taken it on the chin for us to test out the new blockers platform, but server replacement's coming. We'll have more time to talk about that, answer questions about that, and do that. But video cameras, G1s and G2s. We just bought our SDs off of Amazon. Just went on Amazon. You can buy a lot of 3 or a lot of 10. It's really cheap. Just had them ship out and done that. Ordered a lot of cameras. Amazon, I just had them shipped to offices, so they'll have cameras now. POS, I haven't done that. I'll do that this weekend. I'll use Tony's device. BombGuard in on Saturday. And servers are going away, but there will be third parties. Biggest thing on servers that makes me okay is I know FTC is all over this. FTC is gonna, they do the stuff we do, and so FTC, I'm sure they're gonna be on this a lot more than they were on Hub. So definitely count on them to take care of that and push that out and make that happen. And I'm sure that they've got a great team there.